Welcome to the Awakened Goddess Show, your source for inspiration, wisdom, and personal discovery. The place to learn from a diverse mix of mentors, metaphysical experts, spiritual leaders, and best-selling authors from around the world. I'm Angela Wilkinson, attraction coach and founder of The Goddess Next Door. Join me as I explore the minds of my masterful guests while they share powerful insights and easy-to-use tools you can start using right away. Now, let's tap into the energy of the Awakened Goddess and be enlightened by today's guest. Hey everyone, I'm your host, Angela Wilkinson, and welcome to this episode of the Awakened Goddess Show. Molly Apple and Joe Dunn are relationship coaches, lovers, and best friends. Their best-selling book, The Soulmate Experience, a practical guide to creating extraordinary relationships, has been called a relationship guide masterpiece and a catalyst for transformation in life, relationships, and self. In this book, they explore what they call playing leapfrog, how couples can lovingly guide each other to unlock their full potential in every area of their lives. In their sequel, The Soulmate Lover, a guide to passionate and lasting love, sex, and intimacy, go more deeply into this idea in the arena of sexuality, exploring how couples can use sexual healing in their own relationship to lovingly transform many sexual issues and challenges into opportunities for deep intimacy and erotic pleasure. But before I talk with Molly and Joe for this juicy conversation, I want to announce Spark Society is now open to new members. Spark Society is the place to be to get access to all of my best stuff, my programs, meditations, and ebooks, and I give you my secrets for living your dream life. Let me teach you the best of what I know, help you implement everything you learn, give you the support you need, and help you stop waiting for what you want. I'll help you take charge of your life today. When you become a member, here's what you'll get. First, I'll share the exact steps in juicy detail, how I met my soulmate in 30 days and created a mind-blowing relationship with the Love Spark program. That program starts March 1st. Plus, you'll get bonuses from me that you can only get as a Spark Society member. That includes my chakra clearing and grounding meditation, my Meet Your Mate meditation, and daily love mantras. Second, as a Spark Society member, you get exclusive gifts from the Awakened Goddess Show guests that you can't get anywhere else. Ebooks, mini courses, and meditations, all beautifully created products just for you. Plus, every single month, new gifts are being added. Plus, there are even more awesome things I can't even share yet. But I tell you, it might have to do with Awakened Goddess Show guests and live Q&A coaching calls, but you'll have to stay tuned for that. Register for your Spark Society membership over at bit.ly, that's bit.ly/love-spark, and get my Love Spark program today. Thanks for listening. Welcome, Molly and Joe, to the Awakened Goddess Show. I'm really happy to have you guys join me today. And, I have the pleasure of seeing the two of you and just how cute you guys are together. And so welcome to the show.
Thanks, Angela.
We're happy to be here.
Yes, you guys are so cute and snuggled up, and I wish I had someone snuggled next to me. That would be so much fun. But
you're so cute too.
Thank you. All right. Well, I guess it'll just be a threesome today, right? So I am a hopeless romantic, and I love to hear about people's love stories and how they met. So you know what? I'm going to start by asking you, tell us how the two of you met.
Well, we met...
there was a man named Craig.
That's right. I know all the Craig in his list.
Oh,
I think I really liked, at that time, that was 11 years ago, and I really liked Craigslist as opposed to any of the dating sites because you didn't have to fill any boxes. You didn't have to define yourself.
Put put a picture up,
or what you were looking for. And I know that a lot of popular advice is to really define what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And for me, totally the opposite. I was in a place where I trusted the universe knew better than I what I was looking for, and it panned out really well.
And Joe, you just kind of went along for the ride?
Yeah, I was open to whatever Molly was bringing forth, and it was exciting and tantalizing. So, yeah, I was all in.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, one plug for Craigslist on how to meet your soulmate. That's awesome.
Just one possible venue, of many out there. So.
Well, isn't that the truth? I firmly believe it's not really about a specific place to find someone. People ask, where should I try to meet someone? Bar or the bookstore or, particular website. And yeah.
All of those places are good.
Exactly. It all comes down to yourself, and are you really ready for that? And yeah, you can find your soulmate anywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we get a lot of people cringing when we tell them that we met on Craigslist, and we know that those people are not going to meet their soulmate on Craigslist.
No. Well, and Craigslist is a little bit different today.
Slightly seedier, and yet. When I was trolling on Craigslist, I looked at thousands of headings of ads, never opened them until I felt this energetic connection with I don't know what it is, but I could feel whether the person had the kind of open spirit I was looking for just by their headline, just by what they chose to say. Are they saying, where are all the good ones? Or are they saying, I'm ready for something great?
Yes. Yeah, and the rest is history, right? And so how many years have you guys been together?
11 now.
11. Great number. So this energy between the two of you has kind of birthed 2 books that you have written. And so they are The Soulmate Experience and The Soulmate Lover. Okay, so soulmate is clearly a huge theme here. So there are lots of ideas of what a soulmate is. So how about we just start with, what is your guys' definition of a soulmate, or what does that mean to you?
I think what it means to me is not something my one and only, but it means to me somebody who is able and willing to connect and go into all of the different aspects of what it means to be in relationship, whether that's physical, spiritual, emotional, intellectual, and explore.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably gathered by now that we don't believe in one soulmate out there per person.
Right.
Which makes
quite the opposite.
It makes it a whole lot easier to find one.
Yeah. I'm not looking for the one.
That's right. And that's a great perspective to have. It's not the lack perspective where there's, oh my God, there's just one, and if I don't find them, then my world's going to end. No, it's that there are many, and it's more about the growth that you need to go through to really have that divine relationship. So in the Soulmate Experience, you explore very intimate and connecting activities for couples, and you call this playing leapfrog. So what is that? It reminds me of Frogger.
Well, it's not unlike the kids' game of leapfrog, in that you've got 2 people playing typically, and one person is basically supporting the other person so that they can, leap into a new place, whether it's a new understanding, a new feeling about themselves. That's what our, version of leapfrog is helping each other get to their very best self.
Right. And wherever in myself that I feel like I'm holding myself back, or I have a belief that's not working for me, he's often can see that more clearly than I can. Mm-hmm. And I accept and I appreciate, and I know that his vision has something for me in it. So I trust, even if it's hard, what he has to show me about myself. And that's panned out every time. It's hard. And it's not easy, right? I mean, relationships that are truly connected and together and growing It's not easy.
Mm-mm.
And I hear a lot of people looking for like ease and comfort, and that's not what it's about. No, that's not what personal growth is about. I mean, we're afraid of it because of the difficulties and the challenges, but when you break through, as we've done so many times, those breakthroughs make it all worthwhile.
Yeah. It's easy to go back next time and go, okay, I remember what happened the last time we did this. I remember the positive results we got.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to go ahead and do it again. So.
Yeah, it's kind of holding each other's hand and taking that step forward and taking that little leap of faith.
Yeah, to be willing to totally expose yourself if you have, most of us have things that we feel shame around or we don't like about ourselves and we're trying to hide it, but it's controlling us in so many ways to be trying to constantly hide this fear or self-deprecating belief we have. And so it's painful to go, let's open it all up.
Yeah.
And expose it.
But you said once, that you brought all your baggage out.
Yeah. And when I opened it up,
we opened it up together.
It really was almost empty.
Yeah, and I think that we give our stuff power when we don't look at it.
Absolutely.
And it just grows. And then like you said, we're maybe embarrassed or ashamed of our baggage. And that's stuff that you kind of try to keep from, this person that you're wanting to spend the rest of your life with. And like, oh my God, what happens if they find out that I have this imperfect side?
Yes. So a chapter before that in our first book is called Creating a Safe Space. And it's about how to make sure we have an environment where it's okay. And it becomes, when we realize there's something we're holding back, we're instantly like, okay, it is time to go in, confess all this stuff, bring it all out into the open. I mean, that's the whole thing about what we call healing the shadow is not only acknowledging that it exists, but really taking a look at it and finding a way to accept and incorporate it in who we are and make it a part of our strengths.
Right. Instead of something that we're hiding from.
So doing that with a partner is just the most awesome experience, really. Connecting experience.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but that really, with the intimacy that creates, it makes for an amazing sexual relationship as well.
It does.
Yeah. So we'll get into that, but I want to kind of stay here for a little bit. So this is, I'm thrilled that you guys are talking about this because quite frankly, when I went through college and graduate school and was doing my counseling training, this was like the relationship I knew that was possible. And it was like that intuitive knowing that this is what I want and I know that it can be done. And then, going through the years and having my own experiences in relationships, when it comes time to have this intimacy and be vulnerable, oh my God, it's one thing to think about it and say, ooh, this is what I want and this is great. But then when you're in that moment with the person, oh geez, it's so hard. It's so scary.
Yes. So what we found is taking a step for some people is with a little thing. Mm-hmm. Take a little, if a couple is both willing to try this, then start with something smaller so that you can get the feel and the success.
Yeah, and then it sort of builds on itself.
Sure.
Once you realize the benefit of it.
Of sharing something. Right, and
shining
exploring
some light on it.
The thing about having a partner that loves you is, honestly, they're capable of loving all parts of you, especially if you're willing to open up and share them, because they feel there's this immediate, like, wow, I have a responsibility to hold this, that this person has shared with me in such a way that will allow them to find acceptance in their own heart for themselves.
Yeah.
And that idea that you have of that relationship that you knew was possible, that's what we find so many people are using the word soulmate to mean. They know it's possible too. Mm-hmm. They know it's possible to have that kind of deep connection. They've experienced it or tasted it a little bit in some relationship and go, wow, what if that was all the time?
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So I'm just kind of thinking out loud here and thinking about a recent experience where, being in a newer soulmate relationship and going through those beginning stages of this process of unfolding and allowing my partner to see more of my vulnerability and having that fear come up. You say you create this sacred space, and that built into the relationship. You have this understanding, or the person wants to create that space for you, right? But how do you kind of experience your own feelings of fear and wanting to kind of run away and get out of the experience when maybe in the past you've had people that didn't honor you in that moment? Do you know what I'm saying? I'm kind of mumbling here, but
and that's always a possibility. Mm-hmm. We can't be intimate and vulnerable without risking. Mm-hmm. It's inherent. We have to know that. And I think the big thing for me is taking responsibility for myself, it sounds counter to what we're talking about. But even when we're working together with one of my fears, I take full responsibility for myself. I don't look to Joe to do that for me. Mm-hmm. And so that means if I feel like I'm getting hurt or I'm not hurt or any of those things, I'm still the one that has to answer to me in the end, and I need to be. So if we're not in relationship, learning more about how to take full responsibility for our reactions, our fears, all of that stuff, not blaming it on our past, on our, if we're adults, we've come to the place where, we had crappy things that happened in our childhood, but I found that taking responsibility for it in a certain way, not condoning abusive behaviors of my parents or other caregivers, but taking responsibility for who I am in relationship to those memories today is what gives me the strength to go, okay, I'm willing to be vulnerable with you no matter what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very cool.
So you just have to go back out there and be vulnerable again, Angela.
Yeah.
Sorry about it.
I know. It's like, you feel that little girl coming out and she just wants to run and hide, like I said. And
so we totally believe that when you're really willing to do that, you will find somebody to love that little girl that comes out and wants to run and hide and go, okay, well, let's explore what that's about. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily all the stuff, the history that led up to it, but what it is in you today, this little girl.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I'd love to hear an example of how you guys have kind of played this out in your own relationship, how you guys have leapfrogged and
the one that comes to mind to me is we weren't dating too long when we were out at the beach and we came into the little place where we were staying and we took off our sandy shoes and I looked down at our feet and I realized my feet were bigger than Joe's feet. and I've always had this thing about my feet are too big.
Oh, no.
And I was horrified that he would look down and see, oh my God, her feet are bigger than mine. Forget this relationship.
Yeah.
And he could feel like all of a sudden I had somehow shut down a little bit and he's like, okay, what's going on? I can't talk about it. You'll never want to love me again.
Honestly, I laughed when she finally told me what it was, not at her, but just at the whole, build up of, such intensity. And
which is like 30 years of build up of my feet are too big. Mm-hmm. And it all comes out there on the floor looking at our sandy feet. And so Joe takes me into the bathroom and he sits me down on the sink and he puts my feet in the sink.
Yeah, set you on the counter.
Yeah, set you on the counter. Yes, yeah, and
I washed her feet very slowly and lovingly, and then I made love to her feet. Yeah, for
a long time.
Quite a while.
And then she that released that.
It's such a release. It's not just in relationship to him. I look at my feet today. I was in yoga yesterday. I'm looking at my feet going, they're beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I have never had a thought again like there was anything wrong with them at all. It is gone. And this is 11 years later. I'm 52 years old, and I'm looking at my feet going, they're totally beautiful. And it was that session with Joe, probably 2 hours of him making love to my feet, that totally healed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and letting her go through whatever was coming up for her while I was doing that. So it essentially getting her to associate, now good feelings about her feet while I'm making love to them, and pushing out those negative feelings that she's had all this time. Yeah. So, it's just changing your association with that body part.
Right, right. It's almost always about attitude, right? It's not the feet. It's all the stuff that I built up that we get to break down and let go of through that healing process. Mm-hmm. And it's very typically what happens is, we can't change the size of a body part that quickly or easily, or the look of our face or our hair. But what we can change is our relationship to it, our let go of the baggage that we've built up around it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I have to ask this. Being a coach and a therapist, and my partner also being in that field, how do you not take it too far where you're kind of in that therapist role or the coaching? How do people in their relationship not get into that place where one becomes like more of a parental figure?
We've found that we can actually be each other's coaches. And a lot of people will say you can't be each other's. It's not possible. But we actually can be. And I think part of it is that, first of all, I don't expect you to change. I don't expect that. I'm only offering. And if something I offer is helpful, then cool. And why else can we be each other's coaches? Why do we find that so?
I think because we give each other permission. To coach us, where we accept that from each other. And we know that it's done totally with love, right? It isn't like, I'm going to coach you to get you to change to be more like the person I want you to be.
Right.
It's not that at all. And I'm sure a lot of that goes on probably under the guise of coaching.
Yes.
And that's not really coaching. That's manipulation.
Yes.
And what we do is not for manipulation. It's only to try to see our partner, be a better person, a better version of themselves, not a better person, but, just to keep
the version they want to be.
Yeah.
I think another aspect of it is we're athletes. Joe's a decorated athlete, and I think we also understand coaching from an athlete's perspective, which is you just keep trying things, right? If Joe's trying to help me improve my breaststroke, he's going to keep trying different things until there's something I can hear that clicks. Mm-hmm. He might tell me 30 different things, but it's that one thing where he says, why don't you try pushing your energy forward and down instead of out? And that's what clicks, and that's what works. And it doesn't matter that all the other things didn't work.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so I think that it's, one of the things you talk about in the book is our partner. We can see, we have that vision, that we can see that potential in our partner, and we hold that vision. And I think that that's beautiful how, being able to help your partner or your partner help you achieve or work towards becoming that vision. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it's wonderful. I mean, there's such a feeling of gratitude that's generated from having your partner help you to the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a secret to it is, again, having no expectation that he's going to take my suggestions. Like, just offer it. If it works for you, great. And if we're back here again 30 times talking about the same thing, that's totally cool, because the beauty of it is the process, not the achievement. Although, thinking my feet are beautiful is wonderful. If he had to make love to my feet 30 more times, what's wrong with us?
That's right. All right.
I come back and go, oh God, they look so big today.
Yeah.
Change my mind about my feet. I don't like them anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh. So let's then shift to your other book, because we're kind of going into that direction. The Soulmate Lover.
Yes.
And you have a chapter called The Art of Sexual Healing. So in it, you explore how couples can use their sexual connection to heal each other. And in the process, they can turn any sexual issue into opportunities to deepen their intimacy and love. So I would love to hear more about this.
It's funny. Last night we were watching an episode of Sex and the City with our 17-year-old daughter.
Uh-huh.
The three of us are totally addicted to it, and it makes a wonderful ground for talking about anything with our teenagers. Just
yeah, because you can't avoid it when they're talking about it on the show.
Yeah.
But it was the scene where Miranda, Steve, her ex-boyfriend, had testicular cancer, and he had a testicle removed, and he came to her and said, "Nobody's ever going to want to make love to a man with one ball."
Mm-hmm.
And she immediately, and I looked at Jo going, "This is sexual healing." She immediately knew what she had to do was make love to him and show him that wasn't true. Mm-hmm. And it's this healing attitude. It's healing what his belief was about himself. And, if we were coaching somebody to do that, we would probably take it a step further is to actually make love to that body part in such a way that his responsibility is only to lie back and feel pleasure and use that time to let go of any of the stuff he's telling himself about. Nobody will want to make love to me. I'm deformed. It's bad.
Right.
And let go of all of that and let the pleasure and the connection be this healing crucible, really.
Yeah. Basically sort of erase all its negative feelings about it. So.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It just makes me want to run out and, go get
Need a man with one testicle?
Well, I'm not sure I'm done.
I totally get that because this has been in me since I was first sexually active. My first boyfriend had a life-threatening disease that he actually died of, and he was so horrified that someone would find out he had the disease. When I first started dating him, he didn't even tell me. Yeah. And when I found out, my whole body and spirit was like, all I want to do is love you for having this and not feel like it's something that's bad or holds you back. And I think the universe gave me several lovers with big issues because time after time after time, what happened was I just loved healing these people in terms of their attitude towards their own bodies and their capabilities. So a lot of experience, and I can understand you wanting to run out and find somebody. Play this game with me.
Yeah.
I
love it.
Yeah, because not only are they gaining positive experience and they're able to transform themselves, you yourself are going through this transformation and you're receiving, just as much or more that they are.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
definitely a win-win.
Yeah.
Sorry, ever the practical.
Well, I think this speaks to going into healing the shadow. So can you describe what that is a little bit more so people understand what the shadow is?
So oftentimes we talk about the shadow as things that we hide away from, that we hide of ourselves, that we don't want to see. The truth is we know those things are there.
Yes.
They're not really all that hidden to us or anyone else.
Yeah.
Darn it.
Yeah. So that's really the first step in going, okay, I'm going to start acknowledging these hidden things. And when you do it in the context of a relationship and say, this really horrible part about myself and this way that I'm acting, and I've been trying to hide it for 10 years from you. I'm ready to really tell you about this. Of course, he already knows.
Yeah. All right, it's about time.
But in sharing that and really looking at it, we can look at, okay, what are the positives about this aspect of your personality? What is actually it allowed you to do? And sometimes that takes a little investigation and a leap. But again, you, my partner, can see it more clearly than I can. What are the positives about me being what? I might have a tendency. I have a tendency to, when I'm standing in line, I get anxious. Whatever the history of that is, my thoughts I'm not going to get what I want. I'm not going to be first, or all of that. And recognizing this, being able to talk to you about it, and let's go stand in a line together.
Just for the experience.
Mm-hmm.
So that I can find out, I can watch the thoughts that come up, verbalize them to you.
Yeah. And then we can together, basically eliminate them.
Yeah, diffuse them. So that's a very simple example, but it's no different from, I think my breasts are too small, I'm not attractive, I think, I'm too short. What do you have going on, Joe?
All kinds of things.
Now he's being shy. Yeah, so really being able to accept those parts of ourselves and recognize that we might think we're hiding that part, but we're really not. And the faster or quicker you can embrace it and allow it to be exactly what it is, sounds like is what really will help transform it into becoming something you accept and embrace fully.
And even use positively. If I think about my anxiety that arises when I stand in line, I might decide, first to have the awareness, I have to go stand in this line. All right, I know what usually comes up for me. So this time I'm going to start a conversation with the person standing next to me. I'm going to make it my goal to find out and learn something from them. Mm-hmm. Totally dissipates all of this anxiety about standing in line. So we can actually use it to better our own lives and experience when we've sort of vetted it in this way.
When we're aware of it too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So something just came to mind as you were talking, and I'm wondering if you can speak to this. So I think a very common human experience is feeling not good enough. So that is definitely something that we try to hide. I'm wondering how would you advise someone to embrace that and kind of dive into that and process that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's almost universal.
Mm-hmm.
It's the rare person on this planet that doesn't have some little version of that. And I don't know if it's only from our families or collective unconscious, but all of us, almost everyone has some version of I'm not enough.
Mm-hmm.
So however it comes out, those, again, this is where our gifts lie. And people say that, but what we found is a really active we actively pursue those areas and bring it out in the relationship. Of course, I can do it on my own as well. There's just something powerful about working, which is why groups or therapy or all of those things can be helpful if it's the right environment for you and your particular version of I'm not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And becoming more aware of your version of I'm not good enough, looking for where it comes up. And again, looking for the light side of it. Mm-hmm. Of if I believe.
We have a good example about the book, about me writing. Right?
All right.
Yeah. So when we first met, and we'd been together for 4 years before we started writing this book, the first book. And I had this overriding belief that I had nothing to contribute. Mm-hmm. Because, Molly, when you count the 2-year degrees, it's got something like 5 degrees, right? And I have none. I did a quarter university, and that was enough for me. And as a result, I've always had this idea that, well, I really don't have a lot to contribute. I don't have a degree, and blah, blah, blah. And what we found, so it was tough for me to get to really participate in the writing of this book because I was dealing with this, feeling like I have nothing to contribute. But what we found as the project went on is that, Molly writes at a very high level, given her education and her brilliance, her natural brilliance. But at some point, that it's a little bit inaccessible for the mainstream folks. And so where I really came to my role was to bring it down, to make it readable and to make it flow. Mm-hmm. And I think what we found was that it just worked to be this great balance that we have together to put out really, really great books.
Mm-hmm. So your lack of higher education is a total gift to our writing process.
Yeah, because it doesn't get in the way for me. If I read it and there's a word or two that I think might be tough for people to understand, then out it goes, and we simplify it and make it more accessible that way. So really, I'm fine not having a degree.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So it sounds like it's like the 1 + 1 is, it's like the combined effort exponentially is better than, I'm not sure that's saying, but
yes.
Yeah.
And also, for instance, with your I have nothing to contribute aspect of I'm not good enough, it doesn't eradicate it, right? Mm-hmm. It still shows up here and there, but we have now a foundation to go, oh, Joe, I think this is the I have nothing to contribute aspect coming up again. So let's look at what you might actually be contributing and not realizing at this moment. Yeah. That's of importance.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So I would love to finish off by asking, what's a tip that couples can start using right away to implement some of these skills?
Yeah, I do. I think, this would be individually, I guess, since we didn't talk about this first. But for me, it's just, accessing the gratitude that you have for this person being willing to spend any part of their life with you. However long or however short that is, they're willing to spend this time with you. So I'm so grateful for Molly being in my life. And the more I can access that feeling of gratitude, it becomes bliss, essentially.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I think one of the things that comes up for me when you ask that question is oftentimes, especially as women, we might feel at times out of our power. And one of the things that somebody taught me years ago, she's a martial artist. And I remember what it was. There was a window I couldn't get open. It was stuck. And I'm pretty strong.
Mm-hmm.
She is.
I couldn't get it open. And she said, try coming from your center.
Mm.
And it's this idea that there's this power center in the center of our body. Some people feel it around their navel or a little bit below, whatever. But I get a sense of where it is when I think about it. She says, put your attention there and make your movement from there of opening this window. And I did that, and the window opened like this.
Mm.
This is pretty powerful. Okay, can I use this somewhere else? And anytime when I'm feeling nervous, like if I want to walk up and start a conversation with someone new and I'm nervous, okay, I'm going to concentrate on this power center, the source, what martial artists think is the source of your chi, your power, your life energy. I'm going to put my attention there, and I'm going to walk up and let the words come from that place instead of from my head or my nervousness or what I think I should say. I'm going to let go of all of that and let my intention of wanting to connect with you speak instead. And I find that a powerful technique no matter where I am in life and relationships.
Mm-hmm. Great. All right. We got 2 in today. Awesome. So, thank you, Molly and Joe, for joining me today. This was really an enlightening conversation that I'm so thrilled we got to have together.
That's very exciting.
Thanks for having us, Angel.
Yeah, and for you listeners, Molly and Joe would love to hear from you. So connect with them through their popular Facebook page, the Soulmate Experience, or through their website of the same name. They'd also like to offer you their 20-minute audio release, Mantras for Making Love. You can download it for free at thesoulmateexperience.com/mantras for making love. And there will be a link on the page for you guys to just download from there. So awesome. Well, thanks everyone for listening to the Awakened Goddess Show. Was this inspiring for you? Make sure to subscribe on iTunes and give us a 5-star rating and review. Until next time, goodbye everyone. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Awakened Goddess. I hope you enjoyed today's show and took away something you can start using in your life right away. For more spiritual insights and to listen to more episodes, subscribe to The Awakened Goddess Show at thegoddessnextdoor.com and discover wisdom that'll change your life.